Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. That is hot wire. So even someone who like me who doesn't like hot wire, I will use it. And this is the perfect example of when I will use it and when I think it works. So those group of heifers that we worked the other day, that we posted a video on working them, deworming them again and everything like that. I said we're going to move them. Well, that's what we did. We moved them into here. And so I've got this, it's roughly a quarter mile from this fence behind me to the other side of this field. So 1/4 mile reel works perfectly. Stuck them in here. I'm not doing a true strip grazing because water is limited and I don't want to haul water. So there's a pond on that end that we'll go look at. And so basically I'm just giving them a little bit more. Technically, once this starts regrowing, they're going to want to come back and eat the fresh new growth. My hope is by the time that happens, that I'm close enough to the other pond in this field that I can in fact do a back fence to keep them from coming back, which that should be what happens. Even though this grass, you got your bluegrass and your orchard grass is starting to make a head, it's still lush and fresh, and the orchard grass is just now in the boot stage, so we're capturing it perfectly. I was going to show you my little battery setup here. We've got an old truck battery, a couple clamps holding that on there. I actually have a solar panel that I will hook up to it. I didn't hook the solar panel up here because where this is at, it's under a tree and it wasn't going to capture a lot, and that'll last for several days as it is. So I just hooked it up as is, and when we get up there, I will bring the solar panel back and put the solar panel in so that it will be charging the battery so that the charger doesn't go dead. But that's a good example of when I will in fact use poly wire. It works pretty good. We had a heck of a time because they were not hot wire trained when we first put them in here. You know, they just wanted to run and see how big their boundary was, and they would hit that fence and just tear it down. But you know, after babysitting them for a couple hours out here with a horse, you know, I just let the fence back down, push the ones that got out back, and I'd sit there and kind of work that border, and eventually they calmed down and went to eating, and then they'd walk up to it and sniff it like they're supposed to, and within about 2 hours they were all broke to hot wire, which is nice. We didn't have anybody trying to jump or anything like that. So we're going to unhook this so that we can go to the other end and reel it up, and when we go down there we'll take a look at the heifers and the pond and the mineral situation. So here's the pond that I was talking about, mineral tub over there. We have been getting oobs and gobbles of rain, which is a wonderful blessing to have, and so everything is super squishy, super wet. If it hadn't been so rainy, I probably could have left them in here a little longer, but they've kind of walked on all this, trampled it down, and a good rule of thumb is to take half and leave half if you can. And as you can tell by kind of looking out there, and if you look at across the fence, I'd say they've eaten about half, and they're kind of already tired of eating where they've already eaten, so it's about the perfect time to move them, which is why we're here today. Now the trick is to drive in a straight line and get the post put in the ground before they figure out the fence is no longer. All right, so when I get to the end, I like to stop and about 10 feet short and start pulling it tight. That's what I do. I want this tight. Some people like to leave it pretty loose. I like it tight enough. It's worth noting, if you're going to use any hot wire, poly wire, any type of hot wire, make sure you have a good perimeter fence. Okay, there's 4 strands here, super solid all the way down that way, and then on the other borders it's all up against the road, so it's got 5 strands. And I went around and made sure everything was re-tight, made sure everything was up, made sure every post had clips. Like, you need good fence. You need good perimeter fence for this to work. So now let's go pull all the posts out and start putting them back in. We'll take a look at how I pull them out while I'm on the four-wheeler. It's easier if you have 2 people, with the kids being in school and the wife working her job. A lot of times I do this by myself, and that's why I am thankful to have a four-wheeler. I don't use it as much, but it's a handy tool to have. And now for putting posts in, I kind of sit sideways on the four-wheeler like this, drive along. Usually have a couple in my hand. And whenever that fence starts to dip, that's where I'll go ahead and put one. And sometimes I might run out of posts and have to space them out a little farther. But if you don't put these posts close enough together, what'll happen is this wire will sag in the middle, and then these yearlings especially, they'll just walk right over to it and be like, oh, I can hop that. One hops it, well then the next one tries to hop it, and it gets tangled around her foot, and there it goes. She drags it off, and then the whole herd gets out, which, there again, got a good perimeter fence all around this whole big pasture, so they're not going to go anywhere, but we're trying to maximize the forage that we have. So we want to stay here and uniformly as possible eat all this down. Alright, hopefully the camera won't fall. I didn't bring my holder. But the idea is you drive by on your left-hand side, you just pick that up out of the ground as you go, and then you never have to stop. You set it right here, you can set it on back. If you have a trailer, you can throw it in the trailer. Just like that. We'll do that all the way down through here until we get them all picked up. And when I say we, I mean me. Sometimes if you get too many, with this being a longer stretch, you have to pick these up, set them on the back. The bungee cord would have been nice. And there you go. You can see they're coming up to investigate. I drove by on the four-wheeler and they're like, hey, wait a second. There was a fence here. Now there's not. Come on, girls. Come check it out. It's safe, I promise. They're like, hey, you know, for the past several days, there's been a fence here. We don't know what to think. Anyways, that's the process that I do to get them across these big pastures like this and utilize it. You know, if I had enough cattle, I'd just kick them in this whole thing, but I probably would have need 4 or 5 times what's here to adequately utilize this, and then it wouldn't have lasted very long. So this is what I do, and like I said, probably the next move we'll leave that fence there, let it down, and put up a new fence so that they can't come back to this, because after a week, you know, that'll start of regrowing, especially with this rain and the sunshine we've been getting. And cows are picky. They will eat what they want to eat, you know, so they'll start going all the way back there, eat that stuff that's grown a couple inches. They'll be like, oh, that tastes better. So anyways, follow along. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Check out our website. Drop us a comment if you have any questions. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything coming on. I know I'm not very interesting, but you know, this life is interesting, so we got that going for us. Thanks for following along to this point, and